Welcome to Wow with JR, a podcast designed to help motivate others to grow by integrating practical skills, leadership principles, and teaching elements of the wilderness into our everyday lives. Now, for your host, Junior Humphrey.
What's up, everybody? Thank you guys so much for joining us again. Thank you all that support us and that are listening or viewing this podcast. Speaking of that, if you are viewing, you notice that we've changed up our set a little bit, and that's to, for one, help not get visually stagnant, but two, it goes along with today's topic, time management. So looking for ways to have low impact and high return for you. And that doesn't mean that I'm being lazy with the setup. It means I'm trying to be more efficient and productive with the setup. That way the content is better. I want to spend less time on the setup and more time focused on the message that we're trying to get out. So today we brought that in. We're talking about time management as a leader from a leadership standpoint, what time management looks like or could look like. So that's the reason why we changed up today. And be looking, we may end up in the woods one week. So we're going to change it up a little bit more. But thank you. Thank you for joining and supporting. With that, we're going to dive right in. Today, time management. We have 3 questions that we're going to ask, and we're going to try to answer those too. So our first question is, what is time management? Second is, why is it important? The third is, why do we fail at it? And once we get down to the third one, we're going to give a solution to help be a little more effective at time management, okay? So our definition, starting out, what is time management? I'm sure everyone listening has this image or this thought or this definition in their mind of what time management is. To us, it simply just means, it's almost like a superpower. It's the ability to manage and maintain your time effectively, productively, and efficiently, and figuring out ways to do that, okay? Whether it's a calendar or whatever it might be, that's what time management is to us. And I just want to stop right here and put a little spiel out for everyone listening. I get it. Life is crazy. Our life is not perfect behind this camera. I can promise you that. Time management is hard. It's tough. I may not understand your current situation, but I am a human, and I understand seasons. I understand hardship. I understand pain. Those kind of things all factor into time management. So we hear you. We care about you. We love you. That's the reason we're doing what we're doing here, adding value to you and sharing these things. So our hope today is that with talking about time management, we can encourage you and empower you with just some tools that might help a little bit. This is not a fix-all, but it might help you a little bit, okay? Now, these are great nuggets that we're going to give that can be very effective for time management, okay? With that said, why is time management important? Well, like every human, we have things that pop up. Time management is important because it helps us to protect that time. It helps us to protect our personal growth, our family, the seasons that we're in. If it's a season of just needing to take a step back, great. There's nothing wrong with that. Time management will help you protect that, okay? It helps us to be more effective and efficient in things that we love. So for me, I'm a researcher, I'm a studier. I love to download and search and just gather information. I love information because I love turning around and giving it back. But I have to fit that in. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I am an employee. I'm a mentor. I am a son. I am an uncle. I am an entrepreneur. I am a podcaster. I am all these things at the same exact time. So how do you manage that? It's hard. It's tough. I get it. But time management is important because it helps protect those things. It helps protect your personal growth. Let's camp out there for a minute. As a person, as a leader especially, if you are stepping into that role as a leader, you have got to protect your personal time because you need time to grow. You need time to reflect. You need time to rest. a big component of time management is rest, and we'll get to that later. You need time to reset and kind of regroup where you are, and or maybe to figure out a situation, how to respond, how to react, how to answer questions, those kind of things. As a leader, you need to protect your family because you are setting a role model. Remember, we talked about in the last podcast creating pathways. You are creating a pathway to show someone else how it's supposed to be done. So protecting your family shows that you have value on your family. It shows what things to add value to. Same with your personal life. It shows where value is important, okay? So in protecting your family, you're keeping them safe in the aspect of security. Maybe financially, maybe spiritually. That's a huge component. You got to be spiritually healthy. You are investing in them in the seasons you're in. If you have young kids, invest in the younger years. If you are empty nesters, invest in that time with your spouse. Protect your family, protect your home. Okay, your mentor, people, anyone outside of your immediate household, those are people that essentially you're either mentoring or pouring into. Protect those people. You got to have time. If you're wanting to help fill someone up, you can't give them a quarter of a glass. You got to give them a full glass, okay? So protecting the other two helps you to protect that one too. That way you are investing time spent to turn around and give back, okay? It's hard, I know, and there is really no secret to it. There's a few things that we're going to share today that will help, and I guarantee you they will help. But first, we got to recognize a few things. We got to recognize what the problem is before we can fix the problem. But time management is crucial. Time management is valuable. Time is one thing you can spend that you'll never get back. And I think time and knowledge are the two most powerful things in this world. That's my personal opinion, other than Jesus Christ himself. But time and knowledge are very powerful. And if you can learn how to utilize both of those, you will become a very effective leader, okay? So, which brings us to kind of the meat and potatoes, per se, of our podcast today is why do we fail at time management? And there are a few areas. One is our pride. We have that attitude of, well, I don't want anyone to see or notice that I need help, or that I am falling behind, or I don't want anyone to know that I need to ask for help because I should have it together. I'm at the top. I am leading, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it may be, our pride gets in the way. Maybe you're just stubborn and you want to figure it out yourself. Great. Well, when it's time to clock out and you've been working on the same project for 4 hours, that's not good time management. Get your pride out of the way. Ask for some help. We're a team, and we're trying to create teams, create unity. That's what we do as leaders. We empower and encourage unity, because guess what? Every leader has a good follower behind them. Every great leader has a good follower behind them, or many. It's because there's someone worth following. Okay, so use that team. Get your pride out of the way. That's one of the things that we look at. And then here's a reality check. And all of these pertain to myself as well. I'm sharing experience with you, not just a how-to, not a 12-step program. I'm sharing experience. Laziness or carelessness. There's some things that we go into that we just aren't 100% bought into. And it shows, especially when you are, let's say it's a project that you know you've got to get done, but you're not really invested. The time, the crunch line to get it done is not there. But if it's a dream of yours, you're ahead of the game. You know what I mean? So sometimes laziness and carelessness or complacency gets in the way of us there being effective in time management. And then we have this other aspect of the illusion of busyness. Now, as I was saying earlier, life is busy. I get that. This world we live in today is a fast-paced world, a whole lot faster than it was 100 years, 50 years, even 20 years ago. Life is so much faster, so much more demand for things and technology and just everything. Everything's busy. You can open your door, and even the animals are running faster nowadays to just figure things out. Everyone's in a scurry. So we tend to get caught up in this, but sometimes we get caught in the illusion of busyness. Because everything else is fast-paced, we feel like we have to be too. There is great wisdom and great benefit and great learning in being a little bit slower than everyone else. Okay? You're able to process things more clearly. You're able to think about it and invest quality time in it. I'm not saying be the last person there all the time, but just evaluate that and what that looks like in your life and how that can be a benefit to you. Don't get caught up in the illusion of busyness. We think that we have to do this. We think that we have to get this done at a certain time. We think that we have to be here. Life, we are people, okay? The restaurant has been there for 20 years. Why try to get in the wreck to get to the restaurant? The building is not going anywhere, okay? The people that's there waiting on you might give up on you, but guess what? You're still going to get a meal. The restaurant's there. Unless it burns down. There's always a what if. You know what I mean. I know it's crazy. Anyhow, don't get caught up in the illusion of busyness, feeling like we have to do that. We have to be fast-paced. We have to do this. Slow down a little bit. As a leader, you've got to. It is crucial for you as a leader to slow down. That's where we learn to be responsive and not reactive. That's where we learn to think clearly and rationally and not just fly off the cuff and do things, okay? Now, with that illusion of busyness comes in another thing is the demand of other people. Other people want your time. It's kind of like the light. I'm trying to find my words here. The light at Krispy Kreme. The minute that light pops on, even if there's donuts waiting to be cooked, everyone sees, well, there's donuts available. Okay, and you get into the store, it might be, hey, it'll be 10 minutes. Well, the light's on. I thought you were available, so I'll just stand here anyway. Okay, it's the same thing in life. The minute you wake up and your feet hit the ground, guess what? Your light is on, and people are in demand of you. Boss, I need you to be here. Spouse, I need you to do this. Kid, I need you to do this. Personal life, hey, don't forget you wanted to do this. But there's always endless list of demand for you. It's not just people, it's things. Your hobbies, your passions, they have a demand. And it gives you this illusion of busyness. It's like this podcast, just transparency here. We're transparent. Time management today, I am squeezing this podcast in between classes, in between being a dad and being a husband. And I'm doing it because I love you guys and I care about you all and I want to add value and invest in you. So this is important and I prioritize this. And I have a beautiful, supportive family that stands behind me and allows me to do this and supports me and pushes me to do this. So they have helped create a time management window for me to give in here or come in here and give you guys a little encouragement into time management. So thank you to my family, my beautiful wife and my daughter, for allowing me to do this and pour into you. But yes, there's a high demand in life every day. There's a ton of things I need to be doing right now. There is. If I look at it, I can come up with probably 15 things that need to be done right now. But do they really need to be done right now? That's that illusion of busyness, okay? And then life in general, realistically, you can't plan for anything. I have a calendar for work. I have a calendar on my phone for things laid out, but that calendar changes weekly, sometimes daily, sometimes minute by minute. Things that we plan for don't always go to plan. So we have all these things. These are a little bit of the reasons that we fail at managing time. And I'm just going to hit these points again. It is sometimes it's us, it's our pride, it's our ego. Maybe it's laziness, okay? Maybe it's the illusion of busyness, our demand by other people or other things, and life in general. Okay? Life in general is probably the biggest one. It changes. You might have an unexpected bill pop up, an unexpected family emergency pop up, things that you have to stop what you're doing right then and address, or things that you have to figure out. Hey, my plans for this week are going to change because I got to figure out how to pay that bill. Or my plans are going to change because I got to find someone to fill in at work so I can travel 4 hours to go to a hospital to see this family member, blah, blah. It's real. I'm sorry if anyone is struggling right now with time management. I will personally pray for you, praying for everyone on this podcast that you're able to figure out what needs you have and effectively have them met. And I hope this podcast is encouraging to you in that way. So with that being said, we've looked at what time management is, why it's important, and a few ways that we fail at time management. Those are just a few that through my evaluations I see that are big components. And again, this is all from experience. This is things in my life that I see. And that's why I'm sharing this with you, just giving back what's been given to me, okay? So we want to kind of figure out some ways to manage our time. So how do we do effective and efficient and productive time management? Okay? The best way to have great time management is to steward the time that's been given and entrusted to you, whether it is at work, at home, with your kids, whatever it may be. The truth is we all have to plan and manage time, but we don't just see it because it is a feeling of urgency. We don't need to see it as, I got to get it done. We need to see it as it's something that, okay, come back on my words a little bit. We don't need to see it as it's something that has to be done in the eyes of busyness. We need to see it as it's something that has to be done so we can be effective. Okay? With that being said, the hard truth is that we will always have time for what's important, whatever it may be. That's an absolute. So let's strive to see the value in our time management. So that is a great nugget. And I have that here in my notes. That is something that was told to me a long time ago. You will always make time for things you value. Things that are important will always have your time. And I've always heard it said to give things of importance calendar time. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. So with that, it's just a hard truth. If you really want something, you're going to make it happen. That's that personal urge. So with that, maybe it's our priorities that are off a little bit. Okay? Maybe it is the things that we add value to in our lives or that we see as valuable that are getting in the way. So let's look at how to prioritize a little bit. We need to recognize things that we have that are valuable to us. And these are just a few ways. I have some notes here I'm going to read to you guys. These are just a few ways in my self-evaluation that I have learned to help manage time. Okay? Rank your task from 1 to 10. This is another leadership nugget all in itself and prioritizing things, but lay everything out that you have and label it 1 to 10. Okay? And see what is most important. Get the top 10 things, and those are the things you focus on the most. Okay? By evaluating and identifying those things, now we know what to protect. So those are your top 10. You want to protect those. Those are your absolutes, things that are non-negotiable to you and that you hold true to. Okay? Track your time. This can normally be done pretty quick if you're not already doing it. Track your time. How much time is spent on these top 10 things? Am I spending too much time on one or not enough on the other? So focus on those top 10 and balance those out. Once you get those balanced and those are good, then figure out the rest of the time. Okay? Now, a good way to do this is with calendars. Calendars are a great way to manage time. They help us stay organized. Planning ahead helps us see and know from day to day what we are already committed to. So that's where your top 10 things will come in with a few of those other things that just are filling in. And you already have a plan ahead. Again, life is life and it doesn't always happen that way. But this gives you a baseline That way, when something happens, you're not scattered. You already have a plan. You can say, hey, on this day, that's coming up. This thing has arrived. Now I got to figure out, hey, can someone watch the kids on that day because my normal babysitter's not available? You see what I'm saying? It gives you ways and a little bit of kind of cool, calm, and collective feel to plan these things out. We should give things of importance calendar time. That is huge. Whether it's time with your spouse, time with your kids, a date, a play date, a camp night, extra time at work, give things of importance calendar time. Let those things be their own thing, okay? Always also give yourself a margin for the unexpected and learn to say no. So everywhere as a leader, I am going to give you a little secret. As a leader, block out free time. Block out time that you're not doing anything and you're not going to do anything. And that is your cushion time. Now, that's not saying that your task might not run over into it, but if you get done early, guess what? That is relax and rest time. It is important as a leader to rest so you can regroup and think on these things and plan, okay? Which the planning part and resting and thinking on them goes right into being intentional. We want to be intentional with this. Show yourself that you matter. Remember, you can't be effective in helping anyone else if you're not being effective in helping yourself. So you have to show you that you matter. This is where within those top 10 things, you also have your dreams and your things that you want to do for yourself. Set yourself goals. Make time for yourself in the midst of your day-to-day. Even if it's just going and sitting in your vehicle for a moment on your lunch break. Whatever it may be, make time for yourself. Show yourself that you're important. I guarantee you this will be a game changer for you, okay? Set limits on tasks or meetings. Literally set a timer. If it goes back to that, you being in high demand, if someone, a mentor, or you're mentoring someone, or someone needs to just call you or whatever, set a timer and say, hey, this is the block I got and I really need to stick to it. I'm working on time management. I want to be rigid and effective with this. So you got me for 10 minutes. Get the important stuff out and we'll catch up later on everything else, okay? Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to say no. No, I can't go over this 10-minute mark because I have got to meet this other obligation, okay? Remove non-essential tasks. At times, this can be social media or other things that can wait. Yes, there are things in your illusion of busyness that can wait, okay? Folding clothes. Folding clothes are one of those things that can wait so you can rest, all right? Throw it in the dryer, get the wrinkles out, wear it the next day. Washing dishes. Yes, it's a pet peeve. I get it. Ladies, this is for you especially. I admire you for your eagerness to, and men too, to want to get it clean and have it done and sit down. But it can wait. Those dishes in the sink are a life or death thing. Things that can't wait are getting fed, getting showered, hygiene, those kind of things. All right, and sometimes, depending on what's going on, the shower can wait a little bit. But take care of yourself and make sure that you are prioritizing those things that need to be done, okay? Set goals to boost your confidence and set yourself up for success. This one is huge. This one's a big one for me because I feel confident in sharing this stuff with you because I've spent time boosting myself up in this. I've spent time personally walking this out, seeking counsel in this, learning from other people in time management on this, and then in return, sharing this with other people. I've shared this same message several times in several different places of effective time management. And so it gives me great confidence to be able to say, hey, there's one thing I know I'm good at, and it's communicating ways to add value to people or helping people, okay? Get organized and respect yourself. Have and accept accountability, okay? Get organized. Once you get your calendar and you get those things and you know, hey, let's walk through. Yes, time management's important. I realize I've been being lazy. I'm going to get my calendar. I'm going to set time. All right, I'm being rigid on this. I'm being intentional. I need accountability. Hey, babe, if I go over on this, please tell me. If I'm spending too much time on this fun project or this dream or passion, let me know. Keep me accountable, saying, hey, you said you're going to spend 15 minutes on that, 10 minutes on your essay, and then the rest studying. You're blurring the lines here. You need that. You need those people. Every leader needs someone who's true and honest with them that can speak into their life. That's another podcast as well, having those people that are also adding value to you. And be self-aware of your progress. Okay, set those goals. Set those things a priority. Manage that, have accountability, but be self-aware of your progress too. Don't solely rely on someone to tell you you're spending too much time here. You're not spending enough time there. Have the how do I say this nicely? Okay, have the respect for yourself and have the ability to stop and say, you know what? I really want to do this, but this is not adding value to me right now. This is not important. I need to fix it, okay? All right? And by doing that, remember, as leaders, we're creating pathways. So now you've learned what time management is. You've learned why it's important. We have learned some ways that kind of get in our way and why sometimes we kind of drop the ball on it. And now we're looking at ways that we can improve and do better. So all of these things I've just shared with you are great ways as an effective leader to turn around and pour into other people. Because you're getting this, now you're putting it into practice. Now you're saying, hey, this works. Junior, that was a great nugget, but that just doesn't work for me. That's okay. Figure out this is what works for us. Figure out what works for you. Mold it. These are just some tools to put in your tool belt to help you in that direction, help you hopefully get better at time management, okay? And again, our lives are not perfect. We do not have it all together. Our time management is still a huge work in progress. It's like all the interstates around where I live. It is ongoing, never ending. I don't know when the time management construction will ever stop here in our home, in my life personally. So yes, I get it. It's all a work. But doing this, investing this time in yourself, realizing these things, growing in your leadership is a strong component to our next thing, and that's showing others they matter. Okay? First, you show yourself that you matter, and then you show others that they matter. Here's how. Everything has been focused on us, okay? So we can grow to be better leaders. And here's where we put it into play. If you're not mentoring someone, I encourage you to do it. It's incredible. It's a great feeling. It helps you grow because you're constantly having to be filled up to refill others, okay? Show others they matter. Learn their schedules, okay? We're on the same team, so we must be on the same page. If you are personally investing into someone, whether it be your kid, a mentee, your spouse, your best friend, your boss, an employee, whatever, whoever, learn them. Learn their important things. For one, that's a relationship builder. That's common ground. That's huge, okay? You've got that part now. Learn their schedules. Learn things that are priority to them. So now your accountability too. Hey, you said you had a date with your wife. Why are you doing that? Well, I got to get this last paperwork done. No, you don't. I'll handle that paperwork. I want to help you protect that time. Go be with your person, okay? Those are one of the ways you can do it. But learning their time too, so you don't overbook them. Hey, I'm the boss here, and Joe is my employee, and I'm needing Joe to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but he's supposed to have Wednesday and Thursday off this week. But I scheduled him anyway without asking. Now, what has that done? For one, it doesn't show that I value Joe. For two, it possibly, if he does come into work and happens not to call out, it's going to be a terrible day for both of us because he doesn't want to be there. He had something else that now has created issues at home, created issues in his family. So now he's bringing that to work. On the other days he is scheduled. It's just a snowball effect. So being considerate and looking at these things when we think of time management is not all about us. It affects everyone around you. What you do, everything you do in life has a ripple effect. It really does, whether it's to you personally or to those around you. But everything you do in life has a ripple effect. There's always a ripple for everything you do. Even doing nothing sometimes has an incredibly huge ripple. So just remember that everything you do has a ripple effect, and it will progressively get bigger and affect something or someone, okay? So learn others, show them they matter, honor their calendar and respect their time. Support them by not adding anything unnecessary to them, and help them with accountability. So these things, this is coming from kind of a business standpoint, business side of it. And I know today we haven't talked a whole lot about the wilderness, but part of Wild is leadership development, and that today is a huge focus on that. But respecting others and respecting their calendar. So let's dive into the wilderness a little bit, okay? So we camp I worked at in the past. You've heard it in other podcasts. I did a lot of trip planning, a lot of daily planning, a lot of itinerary, things like that with this camp and for the groups I was with. So that being said, that was a lot of weight. And I had to factor other time. I had to factor the kids that were in the camp, their grades, because we did their schooling there as well. It's like an integrated homeschool type thing. So we did their schoolwork there. I had to see where they are, which tests were coming up, who's got what, who's not ready, who is ready, who needs to study a little longer. Factor all that in with, well, they still have to eat. They still have to do this. We have this activity plan, this outing planned, okay? Well, on that outing, we got this aspect, that aspect. Would they like this? Would they not? So there's a lot of consideration for, hey, I'm here too, so what would I like as a counselor? What would I like on this trip? I got to put a little bit of that in there to enjoy it. But for me, the huge part was just getting out of camp and investing in the kids. But so I got my fulfillment there. But it's being considerate with them. And not only that, when I needed to call out, or if I was going to be late, I needed to be considerate of the other person's time. Maybe a counselor that's left. There had to be 2 counselors. Maybe a counselor that's now left without a partner. Hey, it's not his responsibility to fill that gap. So I'm going to be a little late. Can so-and-so step in and help so-and-so out and just help them kind of cover until I get there, or whatever it may be. So with that, I learned very quickly how to prioritize my time, because my off time, I had an off time window. So we were in the woods 5 days and out 2 days. So we were off 2 days. In those 2 days, I had to figure out everything from bills to personal time to shopping to reading to studying, church, adventure, life, calling back home, planning trips and visits, you name it. So, and I couldn't do that out there. That was a totally different planning period. So I had to figure all this stuff out and manage that time on top of the 5 days I was on, and have that time managed there as well, and make sure that is up to par and everything. So that speaks into prioritizing, having a calendar, being intentional, and showing others they matter. These things are important. And when I tell you that it's hard to be intentional and have good time management without these things, it is very hard, okay? Because those around you that are considered will always be there to support you. When you're intentional, people see that. When you're intentional, you yourself see that, okay? You got to be intentional for yourself as well. Don't just fly by the cuff on everything. Have that calendar and prioritize. And by doing this, there's things that we can start to see that we add value to in our lives that maybe shouldn't have value added to them, or as much value. And then there's things in our lives that we see, hey, I haven't added enough value to that. So that's when we could go into what is valuable, what's not valuable, but we're not going to adventure into all that today, because who am I to say that? Those are things that you have to figure out. Those are things that you have to personally experience and go through and talk to those people, seek counsel for it. So as a great leader, you're always looking for someone to pour into you too. Remember that sponge, you got to have soap and water before you can clean anything. Same as a leader, you've got to be a follower to be an effective leader, okay? And I'm not saying that you have to be in this big shindig of a group and all that stuff. Have one person mentoring you so you can mentor one other person. If it's more on either side, that's incredible. That's great. But focus on having one person pouring into you and one person you're pouring into. You have the accountability of learning and the accountability of experimenting, because now you're showing someone else how to do it, and you're having to do it yourself to make it effective. So when we look at time management, going back to the top of the notes here, time management is simply just the ability to effectively, productively, and efficiently manage or handle our time. All right, it's important because it helps us to get a baseline or a foundation of somewhere to start and see what is valuable and what we need to add value to, or maybe take a little bit of value away from. But it also gives us that kind of launch pad. If something was to go wrong, we have somewhat of a plan. Even if the plan's broken now, we have somewhat of a plan, because you got to have a vision. You got to have a vision of where you're going at all times. If not, you're just aimlessly wandering. And then just to recap, reasons that we sometimes drop the ball is our pride. Maybe we're lazy. We don't put enough into it. We get caught in this illusion of busyness, or demanded by other people, or all these things. Life is life. I get it. I know. And that's why time management is important. So with that being said, I hope today has been valuable for you. I hope today has been an experience that you can take and download in your life. And like I said, part of this podcast is leadership development. So no, we didn't spend a whole lot of time in the wild or outdoors today. In our stories, there wasn't really a whole lot of stories. This is just information for you to be encouraged by. I'm excited about the weeks to come up, because there's some really cool topics with some really awesome stories that are coming up, and working really hard in the background on our I don't know if you'd call it a promotional video. I've mentioned vision video in another thing, but we're working on that. We're going to get that out. Be looking at our vlogs. Our last vlog found this really cool hiking area. I'd love for you to go check that out. If you don't already, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're watching this or listening on any other platform, there will be a link in the bio of whatever you're listening to. If you're listening on YouTube, there's a link in the description below. If you'll click on that link, follow us on all of our social media. Anything you need is there. Ways to get in touch with us. Our website, everything you need. So thank you for being a part. Thank you for sharing this time with us today. I hope this added value to you. If you have questions, please reach out to us. We have been getting some comments from other platforms on these podcasts, but leave a comment below. Let us know what you think, what you are getting from this. Let me know if there's some things that you want to talk about, or you would like to hear about, or questions you have. Please give us some feedback. Leave comments here below or on our social media. Just reach out, share that stuff with us, and we look forward to seeing and speaking to you again. But until next time, just want to say we love you. Thank you for your support. Stay true and stay wild.
You've been listening to Wild with JR. Join us next time for more insight and encouragement to help you live out your full leadership potential.